This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and the excitement continues. The scene, though, shifts to Pittsburgh. And tonight, a battle in the Central Division. Two of the best teams in the game, the Cardinals and the Pirates. The St. Louis Cardinals have the best record overall in the major leagues at 55-30. They, along with the Pirates, the only two teams with 50 or more wins. And along with Rick Horton and Pat Paris, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us here in Pittsburgh as Carlos Martinez gets the call tonight.
He's putting together a great season, Dan. The Cardinals are 13-3 in games where Martinez has started. Now, the problem is he hasn't pitched very well against the Pirates, 0-2, but he's a very different pitcher from the last time they saw him.
And the Cardinals face a tough left-hander. That's Jeff Locke. Remember, head to your computers. Vote for the Tsunami. A chance for Martinez to be a part of the All-Star game. Cards and Pirates coming up next.
Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Beautiful PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Not only a showdown in the Central with two of the best teams in the game, but also a fireworks night. That means this place will be packed. It'll be loud, and the city buzzing about this series.
You know, Dan, we've had this series circled on our calendars for a long time. We knew this would be a fun one, but what I really like about what's going on here in the city of Pittsburgh is I think a lot of folks here circled this on their calendar, too. They're expecting sellout crowds all weekend. Of course, the weather's been an issue. It rained very hard earlier today, but it looks like we're going to get things going on time and get this one in.
The only area that I see has been affected by the rain is right where the tarp is. It is very muddy over there, but they have corrected all that around the ballpark in terms of where the track is and around the dugouts as we wait for the Pirates to take the field. There's a look at Mike Matheny. He was ejected in the game last night And he was saying that he could hear the reaction from where he was situated at Wrigley Field, which is obviously not a modern ballpark, and you're tucked away once you've been ejected. And there's the umpires for tonight. He said, I could hear the reaction of our bench and our dugout and knew something special was happening before the reaction of the crowd.
As the Pirates take the field, I thought that was a great comment by Mike, that he could sense the moment, even though he wasn't actually seeing it. He was feeling it and hearing it slightly, and it really was a terrific moment. Johnny Peralta, Cardinals down to their last strike. I don't know how many Cardinal fans predicted what happened next, but it really was amazing. You know, you never know what you're going to see, Dan, in Wrigley Field over the years. Some close games, some crazy finishes, and that last game of the series, no exception.
I think if you ask the Cardinals, they'd say we take a split there with this lineup, with the injuries they've had, undoubtedly. Peter Borges will lead off tonight, followed by Matt Carpenter and Johnny Peralta, the hero from last night's game. Then we'll see Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina, Mark Reynolds, Randall Grichuk, Xavier Scruggs, and Carlos Martinez. There's Jeff Locke, the left-hander, making start number 17 this year.
Well, he really made an impression in his last outing. In fact, he retired the last 16 batters that he faced in that game, and he kind of tried a new approach. He's always been kind of a picker. He'll kind of pick the outside corner, inside corner, and he decided in his last start to get strike one and then move from there, kind of the way John Lackey does start after start. He found that he was more effective that way, so we'll see if he does that here against his Cardinal lineup, see if the strike one works for Jeff Locke.
And a look at Clint Hurdle's defense tonight with Rodriguez in left, McCutchen in center, Polanco is in right. It'll be Gung, Mercer, Walker, and Alvarez along the infield. Francisco Cervelli, he's had a good year offensively behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs. Last time we saw Andrew McCutchen, he was struggling. Since then, he has been on a tear, MVP-like.
Yeah, he's got the hitting streak right now going. In fact, it's the longest hitting streak of his career. We know how good his young career has been. So he's red hot right now. You always have to worry about McCutchen and Pedro Alvarez when you play the Pirates and you are wearing a Cardinal uniform.
The Pirates have won 5 straight, 8 of their last 9, and a season high 16 games above the 500 mark. Center fielder Peter Borges in the top spot in this lineup, batting .246, a couple of home runs, and he's driven in 10. Jeff Locke coming off 8 scoreless innings in his last start against Cleveland and retired the final 19 that he saw. And the first pitch is a ball, and we're underway. Over his last 5 starts, the 4th lowest ERA in the National League since June 12th. So he's pitched very well. Remember, he was an all-star a couple of years ago. The 1-1 pitch to Peter Borges. Off-speed pitch that time, 81 miles an hour.
Very good changeup. Pulled the string on it. Borges out in front. And again, ahead in the count for Jeff Locke.
Breaking ball swung on and missed, and a strikeout for Jeff Locke to start the night. Let's take a look at our Toyota keys to the game.
Well, the first key is for the Cardinals to ride the positive. Certainly the moment for Peralta. You know, when you're going through a long season, some things are working, some things aren't. But I think it's time for the Cardinals to think about the positives. And the split in Chicago that you mentioned is one of them. And as far as the Pirates starters are concerned, they're only going to get better in this series. So I think if the Cardinals can get off to a good start against Locke, it'll make this series a lot better.
Overlooked in the game last night, the comeback and the heroics of Johnny Peralta. The walk by Matt Carpenter after it looked like Pedro Strop was going to just fly through that 9th inning. Carpenter was 1 for 10 in the series against Chicago, but boy, was that a key walk.
Well, the Cubs pitchers flew through the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and almost the 9th.
A single into center field for Matt Carpenter. In steps Peralta, who saw a fastball and not the slider from Pedro Strop. And Strop, as we know, is a devastating slider when right. Peralta got the fastball up, and he took it out of the ballpark.
He really broke it down on the post game that it was meant to be away, the fastball away, and it was middle in. And at first I thought maybe he was trying to set up the slider that he never got to. But I think he just thought he could throw it by him, and it was 95 miles an hour, but Johnny Peralta somehow was looking for it.
And that one swing of the bat and the series split ensures that the Cardinals will lead the division heading into the All-Star break, no matter what happens here in the next 4 games. Very short lead at first by Matt Carpenter. No balls and 1 strike on Johnny Peralta. And Peralta skies this into center field. Andrew McCutchen banging the glove a couple of times, puts it away for out number 2. Jason Hayward is batting .278, 9 homers, 30 driven in.
Locke's already given up a hit to a left-handed batter. One thing he's had issues with is pitching inside the lefties. He doesn't like to do that naturally. He normally likes to stay away, and lefties have been handling him pretty well, but he's tried to make that adjustment too, working inside more and opening up that breaking pitch away.
Going to see some great pitching probably in this series with these 2 teams, and he goes inside there to Hayward. Pittsburgh starting pitchers have won 38 games this season. That's second behind the Cardinals at 39 for most among all major league teams. A.J. Burnett, Garrett Cole headed to the All-Star game. Melanson, their closer, headed to the Midsummer Classic, and so is Andrew McCutchen. And a ground ball to first, taken there by Alvarez. Cardinals strand Carpenter. Pirates come to bat in the home half of the first, and there's no score from PNC Park. The setting for baseball. Clint Hurdle calls this home year-round, and he likes his squad. Why not? One of the better teams in the game. Gregory Polanco, Walker, McCutchen in the first. Gung, Cervelli, Alvarez, Mercer, Rodriguez, and the pitcher Locke batting 9th. 9 quality starts in a row for Carlos Martinez.
And he has just done it in just an extraordinary fashion, Dan. A lot of strikes from Carlos Martinez. He's, I don't want to say reinvented himself as a pitcher, but he's no longer just kind of rearing back and throwing the ball. He is pitching. He has found that he can be at about 95% maybe effort with the body, but the ball just comes out quick and with a lot of movement. And he's just been terrific. His off-speed pitches have been very, very good.
In particular, the changeup, which he's throwing about 15% of the time against both righties and lefties, but that changeup has been extremely effective against left-handed batters, throwing it roughly around 35% of the time. And that's our Hyundai pitch arsenal. Gregory Polanco. Last couple of seasons ranked as the #1 prospect for the Pirates, and now playing every day. That pitch at 95, 2 balls, no strikes.
Pirates people telling me that he is just about ready to explode. He shows that ability on a regular basis. It's just not consistent yet. 4 for 5 in his career against Carlos.
The 2-0 pitch. 2-1. He broke open a 2-2 game RBI single last night. Hit safely in 3 straight. What they're saying too is that you'll look up and all of a sudden Polanco is 0 for his last 12 and then goes 7 for his next 10. Inconsistent. 3 balls, 1 strike.
But when you see that, you know it's there. It's just a matter of how does he do it more regularly. Is he a plus outfielder? He's got a good arm, really good arm in right.
Hit the other way. Well hit. Grichuk on the move. Won't get there. 2 hops off the wall. And a leadoff double for Gregory Polanco. The Cardinals defensively tonight, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. In St. Louis, again without Colton Wong at second base. That'll be Carpenter there. Scruggs at first. Reynolds and Peralta on the left side of the infield. And moving from left to right in the outfield, Grichuk, Borges, Hayward. Molina is behind the plate.
It's a big outfield here at PNC Park, especially in left center field. And there's really a premium on good outfielders in this ballpark. And the Pirates certainly have them. Marte is not available. Well, he's available, but not 100%. We may not see him in this series. They're considering DLing him. But when they have Marte and McCutchen and Polanco, they have 3 very good outfielders. And the Cardinals have 3 good outfielders here tonight.
Neil Walker at the plate, batting .273, the switch hitter. Marte listed as day-to-day, by the way. He left Sunday's game during his at-bat in the 4th inning. Had discomfort in his left side. The Pirates have not seen him since. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. The team that struggles the most against a changeup in terms of average, the Pirates, 194 against a changeup. And Carlos Martinez has been outstanding during this 9-game streak, in particular because of the changeup. Into center field. They'll hold the runner at third. That's Polanco. A double, now a single. Runners at the corners. Nobody out for Pittsburgh.
And what we've seen in the early going through just 2 hitters, Dan, is exactly what we talk about the difference between being ahead or behind in the count. 2-0 counts to the first 2 hitters, and Martinez has to lay one in there, so you get a double and a single only because Martinez didn't get strike 1.
Now McCutchen. Rick mentioned earlier, hit safely in a career high 15 straight. 380 during those 15 games. And he'll become the first Pirate since Andy Van Slyke to make 2 straight starts in the All-Star game. And a ground ball that's hit to third. Out at second, they'll come to the plate, and it's a double play. Yes, the tag is there. Reynolds, Carpenter, Molina, a double play here in the 1st inning.
Well, that's a base running mistake by Gregory Polanco. You either go or you don't. You don't half go, and that's what he did. So he actually turns this into a double play. The ball's hit. It's a double play, and he stops. And that stop makes this throw in time. Now, if you go home, you're safe. They're not even going to throw home. They're going to let you do it. You go on contact, and he went on contact, doubted it, and it ends up as a double play anyway.
The Cardinals wait now whether or not Clint Hurdle wants to review this. Was the foot in there? Now he's heading back in the dugout. There's your answer. They will not challenge. What a huge play that is for Martinez and the Cardinals here in the 1st.
Yeah, and it's a big mistake by Polanco, but don't let me undersell the importance of the good play by Carpenter and the good tag right on the inside part of the plate, and very close play at the plate, but he tagged his arm evidently, and Clint Hurdle not challenging it. But Carpenter, heads up play, you're getting the throw, and you have to pay attention. I'm sure that he got some help from his middle infielders yelling home, home, home as well.
Polanco, it looked like he was trying to slide around the tag to get the hand in. If he just went feet first directly to the plate, he's safe. And Martinez out of a first inning jam. The ground ball off the bat of Gunn. Great play. Matt Carpenter, no score. Play. No score as we move to the second. 6 is a serious number and on the run. When the Cardinals score 6, any size drink, just 50 cents the next day. Coffee, fountain, frozen drinks. When they score, you pour. At your nearest on the run, you earned it. Molina, Reynolds, and Gritchen for St. Louis. Essentially, the Cardinals were giving the Pirates that run. Reynolds going to second base, hardly any hesitation. Polanco, if he's off with the contact of the ball, he scores easily. It's 1-0.
Cardinals gave him the run, and the Pirates gave it back.
0-2 on Yadier Molina. The ups and downs of a young player.
It's a game of mistakes, and then you try not to repeat those mistakes very often. And when you're a young player, you're going to make them. I'm sure Nick Leyva had some conversation with Polanco about what going on contact means.
Second strikeout for Jeff Luck. The Cardinals in that 4-game series with the Cubs, mixed in with a doubleheader, outscored them 19-17. They hit just .235 in the 4 games. Had 3 extra base hits in the first 3 games. But the relievers very good last night. Kept the Cardinals in the game after the Montero double that cleared the bases. Michael Wacha fighting a tough strike zone last night. The Cardinals picked up the win. Biggest win of the year. Here's Reynolds.
Yeah, before we get too far into this game, Dan, I hate to give you a compliment, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, wow.
I got to tell you, in the Chicago series, and I think Cardinal fans would agree, there were some great moments in that series on the field, but I loved 2 things. I loved the Bernie Federko, Tim McCarver conversation, 2 Hall of Famers that you mediated. I thought that was very special on our broadcast, but I loved your home run call as well of the Peralta moment. I didn't see that coming. And you were right on it, and it was really just a great Cardinal moment, and you are to be commended.
Well, I appreciate that. By the way, I didn't see it coming either. I thought the game was over.
Maybe that made
Full
it
disclosure.
more fun for you there.
I thought I got a kick out of this as the rain starts to fall here. I saw John Mozeliak right before our first pitch, and I said, how about that win last night? And he's not one to show his cards. You know, he's not one to get overly emotional about games. He doesn't get too down, too up. He's very even-keeled.
Yes.
And he said, even last night, I gave it a good old fist pump.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's great.
He said that was a special win and one that this club really needed. A walk to Reynolds. And then on the flip side, from the Chicago perspective, you lose Hamill, who gives you 1 inning, and then their bullpen did a really good job. So you're thinking, we're going to steal one here with Travis Wood and Clayton Richard, who was not sharp, but Wood was. And all of a sudden you're thinking, uh-oh, they're going to take 3 or 4 with a bullpen start, basically.
And I also love Colton Wong's comments about the excitement that that moment brought, where everybody jumped up in the dugout and hit their head on that low dugout in Chicago. Colton said, except for me.
Right.
Everybody teases me about being short, but who's laughing now?
Right.
That was funny.
Just a tremendous win. And every time you go to Wrigley, you know, it's cliche, but it's so true. You really don't know what you're about to get into. It's craziness.
We talked after the game yesterday, and I really just tried to implore Cardinal fans, if you've never been to Wrigley, try it once. There's just something different about going to a game there, especially a Cardinal Cub game, and it's worth the trip to see a Cardinal Cub game. There's something electric about those contests, and they always seem to kind of go down to the 9th inning too.
Mike Matheny talking about the atmosphere. We talked about it too last night. It did have a playoff feel to it. The weather was part of that reason as well. It was cool and rainy, with a packed house going crazy. Cardinals on the ropes, and then they steal that game. And the feel of the Sho Taguchi home run from a few years ago against Kyle Farnsworth, you may remember.
Remember it well.
Albert Pujols home run on the 4th of July. Jim Edmonds getting hit and then knocked down again, and then all of a sudden knocking one out of the ballpark on the street.
Carlos Zambrano being a part of a lot of those knockdowns over the years. Dusty Baker, Tony La Russa.
Fun.
A lot of fun.
1-2 pitch. Misses into Randall Grichuk. Just like Polanco, the Cardinals are going through the ups and downs with Randall Grichuk.
Well, we've seen it with all the guys that have come up for the Cardinals. You can throw in Xavier Scruggs. You can talk about Tommy Pham and Greg Garcia. Guys come up and they kind of show you something, but you know, you put them in there every day and maybe it's not the consistency you want.
2-2, slowly hit left side. Gloved by Gunn. And they will get Reynolds at second base. 2 outs. It brings in Xavier Scruggs. May remember the 3-game sweep against the Pirates very beginning of May. Each game went into extra innings. Adams won it with a single down the third baseline, game 1. Matt Carpenter a sac fly in game 2. Wong's home run in the 14th inning back on May 3rd. This has been a tough place to play for the Cardinals in recent history. The Cardinals haven't won a series here in Pittsburgh since April of 2012. That coincides with this team getting much better here the last couple of years.
Think about the Pirates' history over the last 20 years. Go back a little further, and it was a team that would get good young players and then have to get rid of them. And then they'd start over again. And then they'd get good young players again and then have to get rid of them. And Clint Hurdle has kind of brought it all together and found a way with the general manager to keep their good players.
Grichuk is running, and he is out. Walker with the tag and the throw by Cervelli. Use the hashtag MWDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's check in with Pat Paris.
Well, Dan, last night, Dan Johnson made his Cardinal debut, and you remember his first two at-bats, he drove in a pair of runs with base hits, and so an outstanding debut for the 35-year-old first baseman. I talked to him today because in the shuffle of last night's comeback win and the Johnny Peralta walk-off home run, it was almost an afterthought about what he was able to do to get the Cardinals on the board with a couple of RBIs. And he said, oh, no problem. It was pretty exciting for him as well. So it doesn't happen very often that you make a debut, contribute like you do, and then have something as dramatic as what happened last night with Johnny Peralta. But he was excited just like the other guys, jumping up and down and watching out for that low-hanging roof in the visiting dugout.
You know, Pat, right now the big question for the Cardinals as Cervelli digs in is Matt Holliday. Now,
right.
Holliday, I saw him running before the game, did not have a chance to visit with him. John Mozeliak was telling us they do expect him to play at some point this weekend. Do we have an update on him?
Yeah, in fact, he was able to do a little more sprinting today for the first time. So that was kind of the last hurdle that he had to clear. And Mike Matheny kind of let the cat out of the bag, I think, a little bit. And he said, well, I wouldn't be surprised. We don't want him to play out in the field. They don't need to put that kind of pressure on that quad as he comes back. But Mike said, wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow they activate him and he could be a pinch hitter and certainly get him some at-bats from the final 3 games before the All-Star break. And if they activate him, remember, at any point during this weekend series, he'll be eligible to start in the All-Star game on Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Pat. Here is Pedro Alvarez, the big first baseman of the Pirates. 16th all-time in Pirates history now with 116 homers. And a ground ball that's hit to the outfield grass and taken there by Carpenter. 2 down. Maybe Carlos Martinez now settles in.
3 straight ground balls for Martinez, and that's something that's been a big plus for him. He's got a very good ground ball to fly ball ratio, which means he's got sink and he's got the good velocity to go along with it. And keep the ball in the infield, it's only going to be but so bad when you start. Sometimes they find holes, but you get ground ball outs, you're pitching.
Brings in Jordy Mercer, athletic shortstop. Just 2 home runs, though, this year, and he's driven in 18. Pirates start play tonight, 4.5 games back of St. Louis. Once again, I just look at that double play being so big on 2 levels. One, you keep the Pirates off the board, but then Martinez can regroup and settle in as he makes that play. 5 pitches here in the bottom of the second. The Cardinals have Scruggs, Martinez, Borges due up. No score from PNC Park. By Jack in the Box. And if the Cardinals throw 9 strikeouts, get a free Monster Taco with any purchase tomorrow at Jack in the Box. Something to focus on back here in Pittsburgh. The front leg of Jeff Locke. The Pirates found that his stride to the plate was 4 inches shorter than usual. They talked about how he was dragging his arm. He's made that adjustment, and it happened right before 5 starts ago. And since that time, he's been really good.
You know what's funny about that is if you're a pitcher, you almost by habit would land in the same spot even without working on it. I mean, you've done it for so long, and you're so precise in your release point with the baseball and your whole body mechanics. As we look at the mechanics of this left-hander, he does a little turn. There's the stride, and you want to land with balance. You don't want to land on your heel. If you land on your heel, you may be too far out, and you don't want to land on your toe either. You want to land kind of just flat and balanced with that front foot. But it's just surprising that it would be that far off. 4 inches. I mean, if it's an inch or two, that's one thing. But 4 inches, that's a drastic difference.
They also have changed his routine and what he does in between starts. And this began about 5 weeks ago as well. The 2-1 pitch. And Scruggs pulls it foul. And what they changed was his workout the day after he pitches. His body was fatigued. He would go through a full body workout, and they found that that was actually counterproductive for him, so they cut that back.
Not enough rest.
Exactly.
He reminds me of Ted Lilly with his mechanics. He's got a very similar kind of start to his delivery as we look at Ray Searles, the pitching coach for the Pirates, who does a great job. And he's kind of I don't know what you'd say. He's just, having been a teammate of Ray, he's just as nice a guy as you want to be, but Mr. Positive. That's how I would describe it. But here's where he looks like Lilly. This little turn back to, and a little kind of hesitation, and a breaking ball.
Yeah. Lilly had that big looping breaking ball too. 3rd strikeout for Jeff Locke.
Perfect location. Starts out bottom of the zone. Feel like you can't lay off it, but Scruggs chased.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Jeff Locke. Ray Searles also told Jeff Locke, in your bullpen session, start with 4 pitches right down the middle. Just throw 4 that are strikes right down the middle. And then we're going to move the catcher to one side of the plate, then to the next side of the plate, instead of just somebody sitting behind there catching and letting him work on release points and the different things. Let's actually pinpoint where this baseball is going. They said that's been very helpful too.
Well, that's smart. It's like if you're going to throw at a dartboard, what do you aim at? You don't aim at the dartboard, you aim at the bullseye.
And that's his point. The 2-0 pitch to Carlos Martinez is taken for a strike, 2-1. Five for 31 this year with 16 strikeouts is Martinez. He taps it foul.
We've talked about the Cardinal flavor to this Pirate coaching staff. Clint Hurdle was a Cardinal player in 1986. Backup catcher at the time. Extended his career by learning how to catch. He's had a nice career as a major league manager, but Nick Leyva and Ray Searles both came up in the Cardinals organization.
Couple of hops to second base, and Neil Walker as Martinez runs down the line with his bat. Very light rain, a mist here at the ballpark. Again, the Cardinal fans are asked to vote for Carlos Martinez as the final National League All-Star. Head to cardinals.com/vote. Cast your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game final vote. Send Carlos Martinez to the All-Star Game in Cincinnati. Voting will end at 3 Central Friday. And I wonder if Mike Matheny is talking to Martinez about running down the line with his bat. Never dropped it. It just doesn't look good. You want to see somebody hustle a little bit down the line.
I would not be surprised if that was not the conversation. And it was not done too sternly, I would guess, because you've got a pitcher that you want to be doing the job out on the mound, so you don't want to take him to task, I would say, too toughly in the middle of kind of the competition, but you don't want to let it slide either. You take advantage of the moment and say, look, that's not how you do it.
Little flare into shallow right. There's Polanco, and he makes the catch. Cardinals go in order. 4 straight set down by Locke. Martinez back to work when we come back. Edition of America's pregame. Salute to victory featuring the United States women's national team after their historic win at the 2015 Women's World Cup. Complete coverage of their ticker tape parade live from New York beginning at 10 a.m. Central, only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I know you won't miss it.
I watched the match from beginning to end. Loved every minute of it. Could not believe the offense, how quickly they struck, and what a great moment for U.S. soccer.
Here's Rodriguez. We've talked about it, how his father is coaching in the Cardinals minor league system. I like this guy. I think he's a good player.
He's played well against. He's got good at bats, and what I've seen from him in the few times we've seen him is he's very aggressive at the plate. As a pinch hitter, most of the time we've seen him, he's going after that first fastball he can handle. We talked last time we were with the Pirates about his dad telling me the story of watching him in a home run against the Yankees and crying.
That's awesome.
I mean,
great story. Seeing your son compete at this level. And a walk to Rodriguez. That's the first walk issued by Martinez. And Rodriguez has been the primary left fielder when Marte has been injured. They are missing Josh Harrison, who is dealing with a ligament issue in the thumb. He was terrible at the beginning of the season, and then he got on fire.
He's going to be out for 7 weeks. He had surgery yesterday. Actually had a second opinion, and they said you better get it as soon as possible if you want to play this year. So he got the surgery on the left thumb, 7 weeks out. Hopes to be back in September, but of course you're going to have rehab that you're going to have to deal with, and who knows? That could be a big loss for this team.
Now Jeff Locke, the pitcher, 9th place hitter. Rodriguez is the runner at first base. Reynolds in at third on the grass, anticipating the bunt. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. What a first half it has been for Carlos Martinez. He's dedicated this season to Oscar Taveras. And he'd love to cap off the first half with a trip to Cincinnati. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Alex Gordon was injured. A terrible groin issue and injury yesterday for Kansas City. So Brett Gardner has been added to the All-Star team for the American League. He was on that final vote. The Yankees outfielder was added this afternoon. He homered today. The Yankees win over Oakland 6-2 in the Bronx.
Well, there's still some hope that Carlos will win that vote for the extra player voted into the All-Star game. But we also see year after year, the last 3 or 4 days before the All-Star break, pitchers decide, well, maybe I need that time off. I can't really pitch in it, or they need him for a particular game, and it usually opens up a spot or two. And so still hope that Carlos will get the nod one way or the other. He certainly deserves it.
The 2-2. The foul ball off the bat of Locke and then off of Yadier Molina. We are scoreless here in the bottom of the third at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, along with Pat Paris and Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The final series before the All-Star break. First of 4 here tonight at PNC. Very short lead at first by Rodriguez. And a 2-2 pitch. There he goes. He's running and bunted beautifully. As Reynolds has to retreat back to the bag at third. Rodriguez stealing on that play. And if he were on second base, there would have been a very close play with a runner at third, with Reynolds trying to get back there.
Yeah, it's really a bunt and run at this point. You're just trying to get the bunt down anywhere, and it doesn't have to be a great bunt. It just needs to be fair. With the guy running, you just bunt it fair. It's like a hit and run, but it's a bunt and run. And you mentioned correctly that Mark Reynolds is charging on this bunt. There goes Rodriguez. There's the bunt. And Mark Reynolds realizes he's got to get back to third in a hurry. Otherwise, Rodriguez might take that extra base. So very alertly, Reynolds covered that bag.
Gregory Polanco. A double to left field back in the first. But a base running mistake cost the Pirates a run. They had runners at first and third, nobody out. Ground ball hit to Reynolds, who went to second to Carpenter. Polanco was that runner at third base, tried to score, and it turned into a 5-4-2 double play.
I'm not sure if this is the right term or if there is such a word, but he's in a pre-frustrated mode right now, Carlos Martinez, because of his fastball command. Too many pitches, ball one because of the fastball, and I can just see it in his mannerisms. That frustration can build for a pitcher. Just kind of you start to search a little bit, and I would say not fully frustrated, but he's the step before that. Only 3 of 10 first pitch strikes, not typical for what we've seen from Carlos.
So 2 balls, no strikes. Walker on deck. Polanco at the plate. He has driven in 21 so far this year. I think we've seen some pitches up,
yes.
And then how he receives the ball back from Molina and the slow walk back to the mound. I think that's part of what you're talking about too.
Yeah, I've seen you pre-frustrated with me before,
Absolutely.
and I just try to pull back and take a breath and
the slow walk that I had prior to the open. I'll throw down my headset.
Nightly
with you, yes, absolutely.
You're always pre-frustrated.
Never with you, Rick Horton, or with Al, or with Tim.
One happy family.
Ooh, doesn't get the call.
Hands on hip, smirk. Very little signs, and there's the hands on the hip and close pitch. It's amazing what goes on between the ears in this game. So much.
The 3-1. Take it for a ball. Second walk in the inning. Runners at first and second. And it brings in Walker, who singled to center field.
Go back to the Matheny reprimand, perhaps, which we think it may have been, for him carrying the bat to first base, which we agree 100% deserved and appropriate, and probably delivered in a soft way. But again, that's why you don't bury him at that time, because you don't want to add to this command issue that he's having on the mound. You want to kind of still be behind him, supportive. Very tricky business.
Walker single to center that first time up after Martinez had fallen behind. And you mentioned it then, falling behind, then pitching inside the strike zone, not on the corners. And you do that to a guy like Walker. He's a professional hitter, if you will. So key first strike.
Let's see what he does with strike one. Now you can go out a little bit or in a little bit.
The 0-1 picked nicely by Molina with a backhand. One ball, one strike with two runners on. But this is where Martinez has been exceptional this year. One of the best in all of baseball, dealing with runners in scoring position and also with runners in scoring position and two outs. He's able to complete that and then get out of jams. The 1-2. Walker, a swing and a miss. Nasty stuff there from Martinez, his first strikeout tonight. And here's what we're talking about. With runners in scoring position, 132, third best in baseball. And with runners in scoring position, two outs, 033. That's the best.
Yeah, those numbers are insane, really. I mean, it's hard to be that good, but Martinez has showed this ability to kind of get out of issues, get out of problems, get out of trouble. Partly the reason why the Cardinals, as we mentioned in the open, 13-3 in games he starts.
Now it's McCutchen. A pitch at 98 from Carlos Martinez. Continues to mist the light rain here at the ballpark. And it may be like this for quite some time. One pitch. Now 0-2. This guy is such a good hitter. Terrific plate coverage.
Yes.
You have him 0-2. What are the pitches that you're looking at to try to put him away?
Well, I think with Martinez, you know, I think the breaking ball is an interesting choice here because you got righty on righty, and you got to try to get him to chase, which is not easy to do. But when you've got two strikes on him, it's a little more likely. You have to get him to try to hit your pitch. Make it close enough. Don't just waste it. Put it on a corner, breaking off the plate. Really what he tried to do there. And again, McCutchen showing his patience. You know, a bad hitter might go for that.
That didn't miss by much.
Looks like on our Fox track that it was a strike. Sure didn't look like it live.
Molina didn't handle it cleanly, which adds to that. The 1-2. Doesn't chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
How many times have we seen Matt Carpenter be 0-2 and then 3-2 because of his ability not to chase that pitch out of the zone?
Rodriguez is the runner at second base. Gregory Polanco at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes as Martinez is set. Back-to-back strikeouts for Carlos Martinez with 2 runners on. Pitched out of a jam in the first, and he does it again here in the third. We head to the 4th at PNC Park, and there's no score. On the Twins in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1 beginning at 3. Then at 6 Central, baseball night in America. Cardinals Pirates on your local Fox station. It's all this weekend on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Here's Matt Carpenter, followed by Peralta and Hayward. Big Cardinal fan Jesse Jarvis watching tonight, celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday to Jesse. Never misses a game. Single back in the first for Carpenter, the only hit tonight for the Cardinals. Mark Reynolds drew a walk, and that's been it. Pulled to first, taken there by Alvarez. Steps on the bag.
Last time Jeff Locke pitched, he began a string of 3 straight games where Pirates starting pitchers got better as they went along. In fact, went 5+ innings without giving up a hit to finish their start. It started with him. Garrett Cole did it. Burnett did it. So this pitching staff is hot right now. And you add Mark Melancon to that, closing out games. He had a terrific month of June.
Cardinals will see Liriano in this series, A.J. Burnett, Garrett Cole.
And when Liriano is right, he's as good as anybody.
Agreed. Jeff Locke from Redstone, New Hampshire. First selection, the second round back in 2006 by the Atlanta Braves. As part of the Nate McLouth deal that brings him to Pittsburgh. Deep in the hole, it's short, long throw. Wow, what a tremendous play, Jordy Mercer. I mentioned earlier he's an athletic shortstop, and that showed us there why he's considered a very good shortstop.
Well, he proved it to us right there with the jump throw. Hard to get a lot on a throw like that. Imagine jumping and throwing at the same time. And you're also going to your right. That's a long, long throw. Till you actually stand out there in deep shortstop and realize just how hard it is to throw the ball on a line that far, and to do it while you're jumping, that's pretty impressive.
6 in a row set down by Locke. Here's Hayward, who grounded out to first. Rain has picked up a little bit here at the ballpark.
I was not aware that Locke is from New Hampshire. One of my favorite former Pirates is from New Hampshire, who also played with the Cardinals, Mike LaValliere.
We've seen him at the fantasy camp a couple of times.
Everybody loves Spanky.
Yeah, the thing too about that play from Jordy Mercer, that ball is slick too, trying to get a grip on it. Could play a factor tonight, watching the weather and how the ball will be skipping along the infield, maybe to the outfield too. You get the ball in the gap and it carries all the way to the wall.
Picking up a little bit, and I know you guys saw it rain in Chicago, and the Cardinals played through a couple of innings where it was raining hard in Chicago. Not sure if it was raining about like this or maybe harder.
A little harder, yeah. But then there were times it was raining lightly,
yeah.
You know, just a nuisance, kind of like it is right now. The 2-2. But this may be enough, though, that they put the tarp on.
Well, it's certainly a nuisance as far as the grounds crew is considered, because they know that the field can only take so much water. You know, Walker kind of has that look of disbelief that he's still out there playing.
3-2 is tapped foul.
Maybe they're trying to get through the half inning here.
Larry Vanover is the crew chief. It's in the hands of the umpires. Brown's crew is ready. They have assembled. Will fire out of that pit and cover up this field.
I believe it's the gentleman we saw on the right. I have a story about him. His name is Matt Gerhardt.
Oh, did you see that video?
Heard about it. I believe that's Matt.
Trying to cover up the tarp.
And he,
or the field with the tarp.
And he got covered up by the tarp in a scary situation. And just to complete that thought, as Hayward walks, they were so concerned about him, everybody dropped what they were doing. And when I say everybody, I mean front office people, office operations people, players, Pirate relievers who were coming out of the bullpen. They dropped what they were doing to try to get him out of the tarp. They were scared for what might happen to him. He moved about 30 feet in the middle of the tarp and was flying all over the place. And again, a veteran grounds crew guy here, but just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That'll be it. They're going to bring on the tarp at 8:03 here in Pittsburgh. So we have a rain delay officially now with a runner at first base. Molina up at 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. What has been already a long couple of days now for the Cardinals gets a little bit longer.
Well, if practice makes perfect, I guess the Cardinals are perfectly prepared for this rain delay because they've dealt with it so often this year. They know how to handle it. So far, no incidents with the grounds crew here. Dan, it was a windy day, by the way, when that issue happened with Gerhardt here. And again, very scary situation. Andrew McCutchen, one of the guys coming to the rescue. Other players, coaches, front office people.
There's the gentleman that you were talking about, and here's the video from what we had. Wow. Sean Rodriguez was there to help. Andrew McCutchen, you see there.
The relievers come in. Everybody trying to lend a hand. Some ushers, front office personnel.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck, you bet. Policemen there.
They said there was 50 to 60 mile-an-hour winds in that video that you just saw. Well, we step aside. It's a heel attack rain delay. The top of 4 and a scoreless game. McLaughlin. Pat Paris is with us. There's no score as we play here in the top of the fourth with 2 outs, runner at first base, and the batter will be Yadier Molina. They're having a little fun in the dugout, are they not, Rick Horton?
Well, they're actually singing a lot of songs here, doing a lot of dancing, and they got into Gangnam Style. And the third baseman, Gung, decided to join in. Everybody thought that was great. You know, he barely speaks English. He's really working at it. He's got an interpreter with him, but you just think of how hard that is to play here without really a lot of people that understand you, but they certainly understood it through music and dance.
That was great.
That was fun. Very fun. Crowd loved it.
BJC Healthcare, difference maker, and the highest winning percentage of games in the series won by the home team. So what this tells you is that the home team is winning a lot between these two.
Yeah, I think it's impressive that the Pirates have really turned things around here at home to be a team that you really don't want to play here. It becomes a loud place, and they've got a full crowd here tonight despite the rain. And we've got a lot of excitement ahead here tonight.
Jeff Locke finishing up those warm-up tosses for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Man, we've had a lot of rain this year. There's no question about that. 13 games postponed or delayed this season. For the last 12, we've seen this. 14 hours, 17 minutes of total rain delays. Rain, rain, please go away.
We're all becoming experts on whether or not pitchers are able to come back or not after 2 innings or 3 innings, because we basically had every combination of relievers, whether or not a guy can come back after 4 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour. And I don't expect it to be a problem for either Locke or Martinez as they were working into the 4th inning. And there's Hayward. He was walked while it was pouring.
Remember, Martinez pitched in that Sunday night game against the Cubs and had the rain delay, had to come back after a long rain delay. So he's done it before. He'll do it again here tonight. First pitch to Yadier Molina with 2 outs instead of check on Hayward, who is a threat to steal. "37-minute rain delay." As Molina hits it foul and out of play, the Cardinals have received 2 walks tonight. They have 1 base hit, and that was Carpenter back in the 1st inning. This team sorely misses the presence of Matt Holliday in this lineup.
Boy, I think that is very, very true, and hoping to see him here by the end of the series off the bench, as we reported earlier. And, you know, not just because of what he can do with the bat.
That's a base hit out to left field.
But I also think the Cardinals miss the on-base percentage of Matt Holliday. He's just always on base, one way or another.
In steps Mark Reynolds, runners at first and second. A single here for Yadier Molina.
Well, that was worth waiting 37 minutes for.
Why not, right? It is always interesting, though, to see how it does affect a pitching staff, or in this case, Jeff Locke or Carlos Martinez. You would know this better than most, Rick, but you get into a groove if you're a pitcher, and all of a sudden it's disrupted.
Yeah, what I've come to understand about the way pitchers are handled now is they're a lot more liberal about allowing pitchers to come back after rain now than years ago, which is odd because the pitch counts have become more of a factor. People worrying about guys with pitch counts, but there was a time where you sat out for an hour in a rain delay and you're done. There was kind of this bewitching time, and I think an hour is about it. And yet now I think they just are comfortable that players aren't going to get hurt, pitchers aren't going to get hurt. It's, you know, it's a learning process.
And baseball's so protective of pitchers. Not to say that they weren't in your time of pitching in the 80s, but as you mentioned, the pitch count's now such a factor.
But the knowledge is so much better.
Yeah.
We read a story about Tommy John flying into Pittsburgh here today, and Tommy John talking about how when he was taught coming up as a pitcher, never go anywhere near a weight. And you think about how antiquated that is now. It almost seems odd.
0-2 pitch to Reynolds is grounded foul to Jung Ho Gung. You walk into the Cardinals clubhouse around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and all you'll see is guys working out, lifting weights, pitchers, bench players, position players, the catchers.
You talked earlier about Locke still learning for himself. How much does he work out the day after a start? And they've altered his routine. You know, it's a learning process. You get a little bit of it's trial by error.
0-2 pitch again. Misses in.
And as Joaquin Andujar used to say, and he used to say a lot of things, Dan, he used to say, people would ask him about his workout, and he would always, one of his favorite things to say was, I know my body. I know my body. And we don't really know what he meant by that. But when it came to throwing, how much he could throw, how much he could work out, whether he was hurt or not, I know my body.
A strikeout of Reynolds, 4 tonight for Locke. And Martinez back to the mound in the bottom of 4. Union Station Hotel. Choose one of our Cardinals baseball packages and score for your team. Head to HiltonSt.Louis.com or call 314-421-1776. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Pat Paris is also with us. Carlos Martinez pitched out of trouble in the first and again in the third. And there's no score. Jun-Ho Kang, the third baseman, signed a big deal in the offseason. Cardinals were linked to him. Eventually signed with Pittsburgh. He can play short. He can play third. Also at first base. And the first pitch is taken for a strike. And that's hit out of play. No balls, 2 strikes.
Kind of winds up with his swing, doesn't he? You'd think he would be susceptible to an off-speed pitch because he's trying to time it. Kind of gets a little wind up and then starts to move. But we've seen him hit that off-speed pitch. A little different approach there with 2 strikes, keeping his weight back.
Kang is 7 for 16 coming into this game with 2 homers against the Cardinals, to further your point of just how well he has hit St. Louis. And now he's hit by the pitch.
A little bit of a rush delivery, and Martinez lower half out in front of his upper half, and the arm drags, releases the ball too late. Ball goes up and in. He meant to throw it up and in, but not there. Not between the 2 and the 7.
And it brings in Cervelli, who grounded out 2 short. Alvarez on deck. We are scoreless here in inning number 4, the bottom half. Cervelli looks at a strike, and he didn't like that call.
I always look for strike zones to expand when it's raining. Just expect umpires to be a bit more liberal, trying to understand the kind of the context of the game. Yes, a strike is a strike is a strike, but when it's raining, they are very conscious of the fact that they've got an obligation to try to keep the game moving. And you don't want to be ridiculous about it, but I'd say when in doubt, exercise that right arm. Spoken like a pitcher.
I'd say.
Well,
Cervelli may not agree with you.
He'll get over it.
Here's an 0-1 pitch by Carlos Martinez. First year that Martinez has been a starter, and you'd have to think he's only going to get better and better and better.
Boy, you hope so.
Upside is so big with him. Could be an all-star this year. You can vote right now. Cardinals.com/vote. Strike 2 on Cervelli.
I think he's really living in an upside right now with what he's doing. He's one of the top guys you'd say in terms of his numbers in the National League, deserving of all-star consideration, and of course still time to vote for him. But you look at his numbers, and he's in a handful of guys that have been putting up numbers like 9-3, 2.7 ERA. Not very many guys like that.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Cervelli hits it left side past Peralta into shallow left. Gunn. The turner on second base will stop there. So the first 2 have reached. Let's flash back to May 9th and a start for Carlos Martinez. One of his down starts this year. There haven't been many. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 7 earned as he struck out 7.
Struck out 7, but you notice the 4 walks in that game. So command issues for Martinez. Now he's walked a couple already here tonight and hit a batter. But since then, 10 starts, 6-2 record, ERA phenomenal, 1.52, and not many walks. The strikeout walk ratio 70-23. So Carlos feeling it.
Now he hits Alvarez, and that's to the backstop. A wild pitch charged to Carlos Martinez. He has hit a man that was Gung. Cervelli the base hit with 2 strikes. Ball that was softly hit into left field. Now the wild pitch. Runners at second and third. And again, he'll have to pitch out of trouble.
Again, his arm lagging. The ball up and in. And I think he was unnerved by hitting Gung. And he just has not been able to get over that frustration when they wasn't able to get out Cervelli too. He was ahead of Cervelli as well. First 2 hitters in this inning, he's ahead of him. You hit one, you give up a hit to the other. Just extremely frustrating. And now you try to throw the ball through a brick wall, and you overthrow it, and it goes back to the backstop.
Mentioned earlier that Alvarez is 16th all-time in Pirates history, 116 home runs. Number 1 on that list, the great Willie Stargell at 475. Do you know Willie very well?
No, I had a chance to meet him. He was a first base coach, I believe, with the Atlanta Braves at the end of his coaching career, and just the most delightful guy to talk to. So we talked a number of times just in passing, but certainly a legend here in Pittsburgh.
Saw the numbers there. Very good for Alvarez against the Cardinals. There's 14 doubles, 1 more than he had all of last season. This year he has 12. Picked up number 12 on Sunday. Back to Martinez, and it is a double play. Again, a remarkable double play turned by the Cardinals. It happened in the first. It went 5-4-2. This one 1-5 as Martinez had to lead Reynolds to the bag.
Well, the Cardinals didn't have time for their pitchers fielding practice that Mike Matheny promised after 3 bad fielding days in a row for Cardinal pitchers, but that was perfect. Everything about it. The reflexes of Martinez, the throw on the money, close play at third. What a big pick-me-up that is for Carlos.
How about leading Reynolds to the bag? What a play. And a fastball and a strike to Jordy Mercer. New life for Carlos.
Carlos pitched the first 3 innings of this game loosely. He's pitching this inning mad.
0-1 pitch. Now it's 0-2 as that drops in for a strike. Mercer tapped back to Martinez. First time up. Carlos wants to throw this third strike. Raring to go. The 0-2.
So I'll ask you, Danny, from watching Carlos pitch over the last 10 starts or so, do you prefer him loose or mad?
Mad. Because sometimes I think there's a lack of focus, not all the time, just occasionally with a pitch here, pitch there, maybe a batter here, batter there. Would you agree?
Yeah,
occasionally.
I guess I would actually say I don't know. I think there are times where I like him one way, or there are times where I like him the other way.
1-2 pitch hit out of play.
I mean, pitching with just that chip on your shoulder, man, it's hard to sustain. That's what I don't like about it. What I do like about it is the focus that you kind of impute into that face right there, that this guy is focused right now and he's not going to give in, and that's a good thing.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Jordy Mercer. That's hit out of play. His talent is off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw that coming out of the bullpen a few years ago. Remember, he had visa issues getting to spring training, and it took about a couple of months, and the Cardinals brought him up, worked out of the pen, and he was sensational. And another 1-2 pitch. The fly ball lifted into right, and again out of play.
We talked about pitchers discovering their best workout habits, Dan, about lifting and working hard after a start. I think pitching coaches and pitchers try to explore the best mound presence. We went through that with Lance Lynn. We went through it with Anthony Reyes. We've gone through with many Cardinal pitchers over the years. What is their best kind of mode when they're on the mound? And I think Martinez still learning that.
1-2 and a called third strike. Strikes out Mercer. Third strikeout for Martinez. Helps himself along the way. This one froze Jordy Mercer. 4 in the books, no score. Back home in St. Louis on the pre and post game shows. Rick Horton is here. Dan McLaughlin, Pat Paris as well. And we've got 7, 8, and 9 for the Cardinals. Grichuk, Scruggs, Martinez. Randall hit into a fielder's choice back in the second inning, then was caught stealing. Outfield is straight away. See him shaking his head right there. He knows he's had a few pitches here in the last week or so. He's just not quite right.
He's close.
Very close. He's done this a lot. Popped up to the right side, out of play. This big crowd is still here. Arcia in the driver's seat. It's been a good couple of months for Randall Grichuk. Highest percentage of hits for extra base hits. Nearly 58%. You have to have at least 40 hits this year to be on that list. Here's an 0-2 pitch. John Mozeliak is with us here on this trip. Rick played GM. You've got 3 weeks to go and before the trade deadline. A lot of teams still in the race as Grichuk lines it into center field for a base hit. As we stand right now, and it could change next inning. But where do you go with this team?
Well, and I want to talk about what you first said there, that it could change next inning. I think it could change one way or another what you do as a general manager with what happens in this series. I mean, not just this inning, but I think if you're going to look at where John Mozeliak sits, do you have a 2-game lead in the Central? Do you have a 7-game lead? I think there's maybe a difference in terms of how aggressive you may be in the second half. I think certainly there's a hope for another bat somewhere. And, you know, it's not like John's just starting to look right now for that bat. He's been looking for a while.
Bobbled and safe at first. Xavier Scruggs, and the air on Jordy Mercer, who made a terrific play earlier deep in the hole at shortstop. And the first two have reached here for the Cardinals.
So Mercer makes the tough play and boots the easy one. Just hits off the heel of his glove. Bounds away too far.
Only his 5th error this year.
Happens a lot when you're a step ahead of yourself. He was thinking about that throw to second. Off balance, perhaps. Trying to get his feet straight for that and just missed it.
The corners are in. Runners at first and second for the Cardinals. Carlos Martinez bounced to second base first time up. Gets the bunt down. Locks only play to first. 1 out. Runners advance to second and third.
Running hard down to first with no bat in his hand.
I like that.
Maybe that helps. You get the bat ready. You get the bunt down. You drop the bat. You run. Nice job.
This becomes a very big at bat here in this game for the Cardinals. Peter Borges, runners at second and third.
The Pirates gave that gift in the first inning on the base paths offensively. They give an error here in the 5th inning as a gift defensively. Cardinals need to capitalize here as they did in the first by putting up a 0.
First pitch to Borges following the 4th sacrifice this year from Martinez, and that pitch taken for a ball. Borges has struck out to start the game back in the first, and he flied out to right. Jeff Locke upset with that call, and so Cervelli noticed that right away. Popped out of the catcher's crouch behind the plate, trying to settle down his starter.
You know, there are times where an umpire will tell a catcher that he missed it.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, and you wonder whether that happened there, and maybe he was delivering that message too. Doesn't make you feel much better because it's still 1-0.
And the corners are in here. And Borges showed bunt. You know, with his speed, he puts a lot of pressure on the opposition, and the Cardinals could do a number of things here. And you think about a left-handed pitcher, if you wanted to have a safety squeeze or just a straight-up squeeze, you can't see that runner from third breaking.
Cardinals worked on it a lot in spring training. They've used it a lot. You get down to bunt, and then you send the runner. Safety squeeze. It's not Grichuk off with the pitch. That's a suicide squeeze, and there's the signs. And if you're good at deciphering, I guess you know what's going to happen here.
Well, you're the analyst. You're supposed to know.
Chin, nose, hat, nose, chin, ear.
You're lost.
Yeah.
3 balls, no strikes on Peter Bourjos. Runners at second and third here for the Cardinals.
I used to do that when I was coaching, and I was lost.
I think half the time the players are lost too. They miss the signs, and it just happens to work out.
That's why they whisper in their ear now.
Right. 3-1 the count. Inning started with a base hit by Grichuk to center field. The air on Jordy Mercer at short. Scruggs was aboard. The sacrifice by Martinez. And now a 3-1. And Peters hit by the pitch. Bases loaded for Matt Carpenter. Carpenter had a couple of key moments in the series against Chicago, and I mentioned earlier he only had 1 hit in that series, but you go back to the doubleheader. At one point he had bases loaded, 2 outs, he lined out. Then later in the game he had runners at second and third, 1 out, couldn't bring him in. So he has had these moments here this road trip already, and this is a big one here.
And having big moments can help you kind of get through the fact that he's really not 100% of what we've seen from Matt Carpenter in the past. The average at 266 is not his normal numbers. I think he's going to be up there by the time the season ends, but he just doesn't seem to look like he understands the strike zone the way he normally does. He's been called out a lot looking, which is unusual.
The base is loaded, and that pitch in the dirt.
With a pitcher struggling with his command, what better guy at the plate right now than Matt Carpenter? He'll make him work. (13 for 22) with bases loaded in his career. Hard to be better than that.
1 ball and no strikes. Carpenter fights it off. It's a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Scruggs. They'll wave him in. Matt Carpenter delivers with a base hit that scores 2, and it's 2-0 Cardinals.
Well, he is better than that. That number just got better for Matt Carpenter. Picks up the first RBIs of this series. Base running mistake by Peter Bourjos. He should be on third right now as Carpenter is jammed. Clearly a base hit, and for some reason the ball is read well off the bat by everybody but Bourjos. In fact, he's rounding second right there and doesn't make it to third. I'm not sure why.
So a 2-run lead for the Cardinals here at the top of 5. And here's Johnny Peralta, who's 0 for 2. And the first pitch taken for a strike on the inside corner. Johnny hitting .238 with runners in scoring position, but yet 44 RBIs. Let's check in with Pat Paris.
Well, you guys just mentioned the fact that the strikeouts looking for Matt Carpenter this year have been kind of perplexing. 23 times, 5th most in the National League this year. He's been caught looking. But Mike Matheny told me today that they've seen progress. It's not all about the results. It's the process. They saw the process working very well the last week or so. The results haven't necessarily been there, but he came through in the clutch there with the bases loaded tonight.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Thank you, Pat, on Johnny Peralta. The 1-2. See Pedro Alvarez sneak in behind Carpenter, then get back to the bag. 2-2 the count. Off-speed pitch, strikes out Peralta. Friday, July 24th, the Cardinals take on the Braves. 25,000 fans, ages 16 and older, receive an Al Raboski bobblehead, courtesy of Fox Sports Midwest. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. The Mad Hungarian bobblehead coming up.
There he is, bobbling away.
Al there on the left, and the rest of the outstanding radio crew.
Jim Jackson locked in, isn't he?
Oh, always. To get all the help he needs. 2 outs and 2 on. They have a nice note here from the Willoughby family. They've made the trip from Cleveland and want to say hi to family and friends. Chet Willoughby.
Not to pick on Peter Borges more, but that base running mistake could have been a big mistake in this inning. Chance for the Cardinals to kind of break it open a little more on third base with 1 out would have made it a lot different situation. Now Peralta strikes out, so maybe it doesn't matter, but you take away an RBI shot for him to maybe just drive the ball into the outfield. And really bit of a mystery to me with the speed of Peter Borges, why on a base hit that he read well to center field he's not on third base.
2 balls and a strike on Hayward. Outfield is deep, straight away. Yadier Molina on deck. You know, that's a pitch earlier in the year. You'd see him swing through it. Sometimes he was ahead on a lot of the pitches and off balance. Very much locked in right now. The 3-1 to Hayward. And he draws the walk. Third walk issued by Jeff Locke. And they start to get active now in that Pittsburgh bullpen. Molina was the first man that he saw after the delay. And Yadi picked up a base hit, then was left stranded. Locke has given up 2 runs in this inning, and the Cardinals, for the moment, with the bases loaded. It's kind of interesting there, isn't it? 4 days rest and then 5 or more, what he's been able to do. Pretty telling.
More rest, better numbers, less walks. Pretty simple. Another example of a pitching coach trying to find the right words for his pitcher. Do you tell him to calm down? Do you tell him to relax? Do you tell him to focus? You better know your pitcher before you say whatever it is you say.
Molina, base hit into center. 1 run is in. Here comes another. And it's 4-0 St. Louis. Bases loaded single, Yadier Molina. Carpenter had a bases loaded single. That scored 2. And now it's Molina's turn with 2 outs. And it adds up to a 4-run St. Louis lead.
Ball hit right on the nose by Yadier Molina. A lot of 2-out hits in his career. Borges, Carpenter both score, and Jason Hayward ends up at third.
And Borges off the hook with that base hit.
You bet.
Now it's Mark Reynolds, 9th man to come to the dish. Runners at the corners for St. Louis. Off-speed pitch out in front. He has walked and struck out. Locke has walked 3. He has struck out 5. Cardinals now have out-hit the Pirates 5-3. Guerra, a right-hander, getting loose in the pen. Pitch number 85 on its way. Tapped foul by Reynolds. Nothing in 2 the count on the Cardinal third baseman Mark Reynolds. Delayed steal by Molina. You see him do that a couple of times every season. You catch that man behind the plate napping. It's almost like 1/1000, 2/1000. Boom, you go.
Well, it's an art to doing this. You kind of get that extended lead, and then you pick your spots to do it. And often it's when the other team is not expecting it. You get an extra guy in scoring position. That's just savvy base running there by Molina.
Fouled away by Reynolds. It's the first steal of the season for Yadier Molina. More than likely the final inning of work, you would think, after the delay. The way things have gone here for Locke, his spot is due up second, and the Pirates down by 4 at the moment. The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It seems like Clint Hurdle is just trying to squeeze one more out of Jeff Locke if he can.
Locke clearly not the pitcher he was in the first 3 innings.
The 2-2. Reynolds with a fly ball into right center field. McCutchen calling for it, and he has it. Cardinals strand 2. They pick up 4. We're midway through 5. St. Louis on top. State rival, the Kansas City Royals, to urge both fan bases to vote for Cardinals pitcher Carlos Martinez and Royals third baseman Mike Moustakas for the All-Star game in Cincinnati. You can cast your selections at cardinals.com/vote or on your mobile device by texting A5 for Moustakas, N4 for Martinez to 89269 until voting ends at 3 tomorrow. Do both Missouri teams proud and vote Mo today. Sean Rodriguez walked back in the 3rd inning. The Cardinals, and we're a long ways away from saying that they could win this game. And I mean a long ways away. But if they do, as Rodriguez drops down a bunt, Molina says, I do want to take it, and makes it an out.
How about that?
But if they do win this game, look back at some of the defensive plays that we've seen already in this game, like that one.
Well, that was a terrific play by Molina because he's got the choice. He's going to either let that ball go foul or get it when it's fair, but he thinks he can throw out Rodriguez. So he pounces on it before it goes foul. He wants to make sure because he sees the opportunity for an out. He trusts his ability and makes a very nice play.
How good is that?
Well, you see how he has to clear away from the runner, too. He had to come to the inside part of home plate and fair territory to make sure he's not throwing into the back of Rodriguez. I mean, just everything done well by Molina. What's new?
Steve Lombardozzi. So Locke is through. Lombardozzi is a switch hitter, and he hits a fly ball down the left field line and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Locke is through for the night. On the bench for the Pirates, Gorkys Hernandez, Starling Marte, Chris Stewart, backup catcher. Lombardozzi here, and Travis Ishikawa, the first baseman.
Cardinals remember that name.
Former Giant. Good changeup. That swung on and missed for the strikeout. And number 4 tonight for Carlos Martinez. Good matchup tomorrow. Lance Lynn, Garrett Cole. Lynn is 6-4. Cole 12-3 will come your way tomorrow. 5:30 St. Louis time. The Budweiser What's on Tap. Four strikeouts for Martinez, and it brings in Gregory Polanco. Polanco with a double to left field, and he's also walked. Time called and granted. Breaking ball drops in for a strike, 0-2. And the 1-2 fouled back. Our friend David Picorni, by the way, has tweeted at me from Fox Sports Midwest.
Oh, did he?
To know more about the delayed steal and why a catcher essentially falls asleep on that play. What happens?
Well, I'd be glad when we call David and tell him, or he wants me to say it on
do it
the
right
air?
now.
Oh, okay.
Let's slap the other way, and it is a foul ball.
Well, the reason catchers fall asleep is they're so focused on getting their pitcher on track that you kind of lose track of base runners, and so does the pitcher. And more importantly, for the delayed steal, so do the middle infielders, because those are the guys you aren't covering. So it's more about the second baseman and the shortstop. The minute the pitch is made, they kind of look down or look away, and they don't think that the guy would be stealing.
It's not a traditional steal because he doesn't take off as if it was a traditional steal.
Correct.
The low strike that catches the bottom of the zone, and Polanco is down. 5 strikeouts, Carlos Martinez. It'll be in Cincinnati. You can see it on Fox. 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Vance Worley is the new pitcher in for the Pirates, and these pitchers are headed to the All-Star game. Michael Wacha started last night. He's 10-3. Trevor Rosenthal, one of the best closers in the game. Garrett Cole, tremendous first half, and then A.J. Burnett, in what is his final Major League season, will be his first All-Star game appearance.
Do you rethink that when you're pitching so well in the first half of a season? You've already said it's my last year, and all of a sudden you're an all-star and you're on top of the world? Boy, I'd have to.
I think this is why we may not see 300-game winners anymore in baseball, because the motivation is not there for a lot of players because they've already made so much money. The motivation for some just isn't there.
I'll tell you, when the motivation hits you when it's springtime.
It's off the bat of Bridget for 1 out.
Everybody starts headed towards Arizona or Florida, and you start to get that itch, and you start thinking about moments and dreaming about games, and you know, money has nothing to do with that. That's your identity for so long, it's hard to give it up. Most people that I know that are retired from the game will have dreams still years later of still playing in the big leagues, and they dream they get that call, and often those happen around spring training time.
And the strike to the batter, Colton Wong, hitting for Xavier Scruggs. You can see Wong staying in the game and then moving Matt Carpenter to first base, or Reynolds to first, Carpenter to third, that combination. That's why when you think about the Cardinals and what they may try to do offensively, Carpenter's versatility helps.
It sure does.
Go get a third baseman or a first baseman. 0-2 pitch. Good to see Colton back after his tremendous play at Wrigley Field in game 1 of the doubleheader 2 days ago.
And talking to Pat Paris before the game on our pregame show, they talked about the fact that he had to undergo those tests. MLB wanted to make sure he waited 48 hours, and just glad the tests were all fine for Colton Wong.
And a base hit into right field. So 1 out hit for Colton Wong.
The concentration, quick swing, quick bat, quick hands.
Here's Martinez. Squares to bunt. And it's a foul ball with strike 1. Sacrifice back in the 5th and grounded out to second base. Interesting, with a 4-run lead, pinch hitting for his first baseman with Colton Wong. Maybe he didn't like the righty-righty matchup.
I think he just wanted to get Colton Wong in the game. There was question when he made the lineup whether or not Colton would be available or not, and I think kind of getting the late notice, I think Mike is just looking for a chance to get Colton in there. Surely he's a key player on this team, and maybe even better to have him play a few innings or half a game than a full game first day back.
And a 1-1, swinging away, back to second, out there, and it's a double play. Worley, nice play. The throw to Mercer at second base, and they turn 2. 1,000 fans take home a one-of-a-kind beach towel presented by Apple Vacations. Also that day, don't miss out on Prairie Farms ice cream sundaes before the game, and kids run the bases after the game. July 26th. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Danny, your buddies are having a good time at the game today. Aren't those the guys I saw you with at lunch today?
Oh, yeah.
Your buddies?
Yep. Wow. Here are the changes for the Cardinals, by the way. Wong stays in the game at second. Reynolds at first base, and Carpenter is at third. Those guys were dancing in the rain, by the way.
They were. Another terrific outing, and look at Colton Wong, who had that base hit. Nice to see him back and healthy and playing. But Carlos Martinez, again, the story here tonight. He has just been terrific again. A little bit of control issues first inning or so in terms of that first pitch strike, but he's gotten it back, and this can be a tough lineup. And as you mentioned, Dan, you can't kind of take them for granted and think game's over here in Pittsburgh, because they have shown that they have ability to come back late.
It's ball one on Neil Walker with McCutchen on deck, and then we'll see Gung. The 1-0 pitch with the Cardinals leading by the score of 4-0. That changeup has been more effective here the last couple of innings, and that was a good one there.
It's a feel pitch, and he has the feel of it right now. It's interesting. The only way to get the feel for it is to throw it. Can't give up on it.
The 1-1.
So with Waka and Martinez, the Cardinals have two very young pitchers with plus fastballs and outstanding changeups. Nice combination to have.
3-1 the count. There's a look at Michael Waka. And it's now 3-2. Walker has struck out, single to center field. There's back-to-back strikeouts from Martinez in the third, with runners at first and second, only one out. There it is again, that changeup. The strikeout number 6 tonight for Carlos Martinez.
Now that is pitching. A get me over fastball at 95 on a 3-1 count. Then he pulls the string and he locates it perfectly, Dan. That's part of it. Down and away. Walker can't keep his hands back. Terrific pitch for Carlos.
He has struck out 6, and 4 of the last 5 he has seen. Here's McCutchen. One of the key plays in the game, a 5-4-2 double play in the first inning. Polanco had reached with a double. Single by Walker, first and third, nobody out. McCutchen hits into that double play. And a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2.
Carlos has that extra gear too, doesn't he?
Ever since the rain delay, he's come back out with that extra gear, it seems like.
98 in movement on that last pitch.
And time called and granted late. Again, second time that's happened against Martinez. And the 1-2 pitch. One, two.
You know, Dan, it's true of a lot of major league players, of all major league players, really, that they make something that's very hard to do look easy. And that's what we're seeing with Carlos Martinez tonight, with his command, with his stuff, pitching on the road against a good ball club, making it look easy. It's not.
Line to third. And the catch made by Carpenter for out number 2. Jung Ho Kang has been hit by a pitch and hit into a fielder's choice. That's your advanced scouting coming into play there with McCutchen. When you've got Carpenter in the middle of the game, 2 steps off the line. More and more we're seeing that. And in this particular case, Kang, Carpenter, after the first pitch, now moves 2 steps to his left at third base.
And that's Jose Oquendo helping him move. That's part of his responsibility. Chris Maloney helps the outfielders move. But they know the charts. They know the tendencies. They get information from the numbers people. And he is right where he's supposed to be again.
Unbelievable. If he's 2 steps the other way, that's probably a base hit, which he was in the first pitch of that at bat. We enter the 7th. And photo. Use the hashtag MWDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. The 7th inning rolls in. The only thing they've done for a pitcher since 19... No, that's Al. That's not me.
Well, you know what they call those, don't you?
That's what Al says.
You know what they call those?
What?
The official name. They're Roboskis.
I call those things useless.
Well, you're not calling Al useless.
No,
you're calling that thing useless.
Yeah.
Well, Al loves those things so much, we're going to call them Roboskis from now on.
I would never say Al is useless.
Of course not.
But the thing behind the mound, useless.
Well, that's because you don't have dirt in your spikes.
They are useless.
Okay.
You know, Danny, the good old tongue depressor is what you need there, Danny. All right, Al, thanks.
I'm going to go over and tell Al that he needs to get over here and defend himself.
You know he's saying it right now.
He probably is.
There's a strike to Carpenter. Big hit for Carpenter back in the 5th inning. Bases loaded. A single that brought in 2. Also single to center field back in the 1st. Our ChooseNissan.com drive of the game. A soft liner off the bat of Matt Carpenter, bringing in 2. He later would score, part of a 4-run 5th inning for St. Louis. The 1-1 pitch. Well, we have a moment. Want to send out our well wishes to Tony Simakaitis and his family.
Yes.
Tony's father passed away over the weekend, and Tony has been a long time Cardinals employee. ever since he was a kid. Now working in the front office. Is all kinds of different things for the club. Sales, marketing, scoreboard entertainment. Strikeout of Carpenter. But his father passed away suddenly over the weekend. And we mentioned it the other night, but want to mention it again. I know it's been a real tough couple of days for Tony and his family. And you're in our thoughts and our prayers for Tony Simakaitis.
Terrific family.
Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Second inning of work for Vance Worley. Peralta is hitless tonight. It's always, what have you done for me lately? Last night he's a hero. Tonight he's hitless in 3 at-bats. What's going on?
Part of a baseball season, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Here's the 0-2. Rick, I was looking at the amount of innings he could have potentially played since he arrived in St. Louis. It's around 2,200 if you include the playoffs. He's played in 92% of the innings that would be available for him. I mean, he has been reliable. He plays every day. Mercer, nice play.
Durable, consistent. A lot of big hits.
Time to stretch. Cardinals with a 4-run lead. The All-Star game coming up on Tuesday on Fox. Coverage begins at 6. The Midsummer Classic. And you can vote for the guy on the mound right now, Carlos Martinez, and get him to join 5 of his teammates already headed there. Voting will close tomorrow at 3. Cardinals.com/vote. That pitch at 97 to Cervelli. It's just fluid. It's free and easy.
Exactly the words I was going to say. Free and easy, and it's not a max effort 97. It's a controlled. Yeah. And throwing the breaking ball off of that 97. 85 pitches working in the 7th inning. Not a bad pitch count.
And the 0-2 pitch. 99. Remember, we had a rain delay too, so Martinez was sitting for quite some time. The Cardinals were at the plate when the rain delay hit. Then it was 37 minutes. Then you had more tacked on that because they finished up the inning, so he sat for a good 50 minutes probably. 100 on the gun here in the 7th inning from Martinez.
How many people on the planet can throw a fastball 100 miles an hour, Dan? 20, 15, maybe?
It's amazing. Carpenter, tough play, and he makes it. A stretch by Reynolds. That was not an easy play, and Cervelli is 1 for 3.
Carpenter's been tested since moving to third. Gets the line drive, a play to his left, now a play coming in. I actually think Matt throws from that arm angle sometimes better than when he throws over the top. Seems like he has a little bit smoother delivery. A little more on it.
Good changeup. How good has that pitch been tonight? And again the changeup. Talking with Pedro Alvarez before the game. He said he is a big body language guy. He said he does not like to show too much emotion either way, but he said that's a big part of his game.
100 to 81.
It's pretty good.
Talk about changing speeds.
Two pitch and a full count. Got him. Strikeout of Pedro Alvarez. 7 tonight for Carlos Martinez. Let's get you the Mazda game summary. 4-0 St. Louis. The Cardinals a 4-run 5th. Twice they had the bases loaded. 2 singles to score 4 runs. Martinez 6 innings. Carpenter's 2 for 4. Locke lasted 5, and McCutchen is hitless tonight with a strikeout. Fastball at 99. Folks, you're watching something special right here, aren't you? Woo. This is something here. 0-1 pitch. 100. 96 pitches tonight, and he's hitting triple digits.
You said it's useless, but he just used the Raboski, by the way, before that last delivery.
I stand corrected.
Carlos thinks he needs it. It's not useless.
Pitch number 98, and it's a strikeout. Dealing here tonight, Carlos Martinez. 8 strikeouts. Cardinals have a 4-run lead as we head to the 8th. A Bomberito Sports Update with Jim Hayes. All right, Jimmy, thanks. Hayward, Molina, and Reynolds for St. Louis. Third inning of work for Vance Worley. Cardinals do not have anybody throwing in the pen right now. And I only bring that up. I mean, Martinez obviously is dealing, but you had the layoff with the rain delay. He's at right around 100 pitches. I'm sure it's in the back of Mike Matheny's mind to potentially go to the pen, but you know, you talk about stressful innings. These have not been stressful.
No. Well, they have for the Pirates.
For them, yes. 3-0.
Tony La Russa's terminology over the years of watching him kind of manage his bullpen and his pitcher, he said, well, you just have to watch him. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think Mike Matheny, Derek Lilliquist, really in the same mode as, you know, you're watching your pitcher, and you know, is he laboring? Is he done? What's the score? How's my bullpen? What do we have tomorrow? Who's starting tomorrow? Who started yesterday? All those things are factors. Cardinals had the extra reliever for that couple of days there in Chicago and before that, but they're not at that point now. 5 right-handers, 2 left-handers.
And a ground ball that's hit to second. Hayward is the first out here in the top of the 8th. Yellowwood bringing the lumber. Yadier Molina. A base hit that brought in 2. Yellowwood bringing the lumber. That was Borges and Carpenter. And that made it a 4-run St. Louis lead. That's where we stand right now.
Cardinals bringing the lumber after the error in that inning. And we talked about making it hurt. And Yadi's 2-out base hit certainly made it hurt. There was only 1 earned run in that inning against Jeff Locke. That's not all Jordy Mercer's fault. Jeff Locke wasn't able to finish that inning. It's still on him to do that. But the error is certainly costly.
It's amazing at this level how many times that happens. You make an error, and how major league players make you pay. For instance, San Diego over the weekend. Their shortstop, Amarista, commits the error, leads to a winning run for St. Louis.
Good teams smell that opportunity, and they just capitalize on it more often than not. And the defensive team kind of has a uh-oh thought in the back of their head. But we also see how emotions in this game can turn so quickly. The Cardinals had a 6-game winning streak. Then they had a 4-game losing streak. Winning streak, losing streak. It's kind of been kind of an up and down last couple of weeks for St. Louis.
0-2 pitch. Molina goes the other way and foul. Pitch taken low, 1-2 with 1 out, nobody on. Began the night talking about the changeup of Carlos Martinez, and during this run of now 10 consecutive starts, quality starts of Martinez, how good that has been. And a strikeout of Molina. You know, the other thing that he had too coming into this start tonight, his whiff percentage, if you will, the swings and misses.
Right.
4th highest whiff percentage. Nearly 40%.
Lance Lynn is always on that list too, and you're going to get a lot of strikeouts with that. You're going to normally get a high pitch count with that too, because they're not putting balls in play. Lance Lynn does it primarily with fastballs.
Chop towards second base. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Martinez. So far, it's a 3-hit shutout. St. Louis on top. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. The banks of the Allegheny PNC Park, a 4-run lead for the Cardinals as we move to the home half of the 8th. Right now, the story in this game, the pitching of Carlos Martinez trying to become a 10-game winner, improved to 10-3.
You think he's getting votes as we speak?
Might be. Those watching back home in St. Louis or wherever you may be, he has been impressive here tonight.
Breaking ball still sharp. Over 50 pitches, 95 plus from Carlos.
That's well hit. Right center field. Borges is back. Makes the catch on the track. Travis Ishikawa will be the pinch hitter.
Carlos hoping. Thank you. Haven't had too many of those hard-hit baseballs. Ishikawa, Cardinal fans remember for his home run that he hit off of Michael Wacha. In the playoffs. I learned today that he was not aware that it was a 2-0 count and that Wacha had walked the guy before him on 4 pitches.
Oh, is that right?
He said if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have swung at it. He said he was very unaware of the count. He was just so locked in on the pitch, and of course the home run attests to that. Said he remembered touching first base, and that's about the last thing he remembered.
I bet. 2-2. Travis Ishikawa. Into right center again. Borges will not get to this one. One hops off the wall. Travis Ishikawa with a 1-out double. That's 2 hard hit balls here against Martinez. St. Louis with a left-hander getting loose in the pen, and that's Randy Choate.
Have to check the location of this. I thought it was a decent pitch. Really not a bad spot. Up a little bit, perhaps.
Snaps a string of 13 straight set down by Carlos Martinez. And it brings in Polanco. Polanco 1 for 2. Pitch count of 107. That'll be it for Carlos Martinez.
You know, Dan, there are quality starts, and then there are high quality starts. And that's what this one was from Carlos Martinez. Terrific job. 7 1/3. Outstanding performance.
Our DraftKings players to watch: Kendrick, Marte, Peralta, Upton. Johnny Peralta is hitless tonight. That's the most game-winning RBIs in the National League this season. Polanco faces Randy Choate. He's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts against the Cardinals lefty. And it's our Hyundai pitch arsenal: sinker, slider, when you think of Randy Choate.
Yeah, very simple when it comes to the repertoire of Randy Choate. He's either going to throw a fastball in on a left-hander, he's going to throw the slider away. Slider's been very good lately. Kind of has a sweeping delivery. It's really more kind of left to right than it is down. But lefties have a hard time seeing the ball off of Randy Choate.
Outfield is straight away, and here's a 1-0 pitch. Choate to Polanco. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gregory Polanco with a double, a walk, and was called out on strikes back in the 5th. Here's a 1-1.
What a change from Carlos Martinez to Randy Choate.
I'd say. Ishikawa is the runner at second base. 2-2. Switch hitting Neil Walker is on deck.
Right at the bottom of the zone. 85. Good location.
Walker from the left side, by the way. That's where he has his 6 home runs. Trying to get Polanco here, though. The 2-2. Hit the other way. Grichuk backs up. 2 down. Ishikawa back to the bag at second base. It looks like we'll have a double switch here with Mike Matheny.
Matheny, Larry Vanover talking it over. And it looks like Randy Choate got his man, and they're going to have Neil Walker bat left-handed. And it'll be Seth Maness to replace Randy Choate. Trying to save that run with 2 outs here in the 8th for Carlos Martinez. Our Chevy called to the bullpen. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Seth Maness, appearance number 43 for the Cardinal reliever, and an interesting move for Mike Matheny as Maness is on to face Neil Walker, who is much better from the left side than he is from the right side. Although just 1 for 10 against Seth Maness in his career, Walker considered giving up batting right-handed a year ago. But Mike Matheny electing to go with Seth Maness and not Randy Choate for this extra hitter. And I'm sure that 1 for 10 has something to do with it.
Dan Johnson takes over at first base, part of the double switch. He'll be due up third for the Cardinals in the top of the 9th. And he had a nice debut last night at Wrigley. As Walker looks at his strike, Neil Walker tonight has struck out twice and singled to center. Martinez had runners at first and second, back in the 3rd, only 1 out, and Walker struck out. Then he struck out McCutchen. Key spot in the game. Here's the 0-1. Now 0-2. Yeah, initially looking at it, I thought he'd keep Choate in for the 2. Back-to-back because of the numbers you just gave. And you turn around Walker to his better side.
Getting many notes from Cardinal fans who have been nonstop voting for Carlos Martinez on MLB.com for his all-star selection. Again, that'll be announced at 3 o'clock tomorrow, so still time to vote. Keep it up.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Upcoming to Walker. Manis has had a terrific first half for the Cardinals. Time of appearances is 43rd tonight. It's tied with Kevin Segras for most on the team. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Backhanded. Manis to the bag, and that sends us to the ninth. 10th consecutive quality start for Carlos Martinez. Tonight for Martinez. He's now up to 113, and the ERA has dropped to 2.52. Our Chevy called to the pen. Aquimedes Caminero, hard throwing right-hander, out of the pen for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
They say earlier maybe 15 to 20 people on the planet that can throw 100 miles an hour. I'm not sure this guy's not on that list. Certainly a hard throwing right-hander. Clint Hurdle saying early in the season that he was a great find for them and thinks that he's got a big upside. Comes in his team trailing by 4. Vance Worley did a nice job out of the Pirates bullpen. 3 solid innings.
Randall Grichuk, and a strike. A pitch at 98.
Wonder if that number's higher than I think, Dan. Think there's 30 people that can throw 100?
Maybe. It's tapped foul. Rodriguez moves from left to second base. Ishikawa stays in the game, and he's in left field.
One thing for sure, he's the hardest throwing Archimedes on the planet.
How do you know that?
I've checked.
Well, you have done your homework. I mean to tell you, if you know that, you are on your game. A strikeout of Grichuk. By the way, would you be surprised to see Manis finish this game? You could.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. Right-handers, middle of the lineup. I don't think that's a bad choice.
We'll see how Mike Matheny wants to play it. Colton Wong came in the ball game about midway through and singled back in the 6th inning. Stayed in the game. They have a shift on with him. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Wong is hit by the pitch. Remember, Gunn was hit earlier by Martinez. That pitch at 99, and it gets Colton Wong. And that gets your attention.
Yeah, it gets your attention. Suspicious, I guess you label that delivery. Kind of out of the blue, right in the middle of the back. Gunn was hit between the 2 and the 7. And Colton between the 1 and the 6, right in the middle of the back.
As I look out to the Cardinals bullpen, I do not see Trevor Rosenthal throwing.
Not
4-run lead.
Not a safe situation. You wouldn't expect to see him.
And sometimes even with a 4-run lead, Mike Matheny will have him just get up and toss just to get loose. Not necessarily get hot. That pitch taken down and in. What a debut for Johnson last night with a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs, and a 1-0 pitch.
Well, Dan, I am not aware of any reason why the Cardinals would hit Gunn, and I'm not aware of any reason why the Pirates would hit Wong, but I'm suspicious.
The 2-1. Taken high and tight by Johnson. 3 balls, 1 strike. Shift on here for Johnson. Gung on the left, Wong on the right. A 3-1 pitch. See if the Cardinals want to start the runner. 3-2 with 1 out. Colton Wong, good speed at first base. Cardinals will run into some outstanding pitching after tonight.
Up 4-0. Why not?
And Wong is running on the 3-2. That'll avoid the double play. And quickly, Cervelli heads up play to go cover third base. Wong thought about getting up after his slide into second to take third, but Cervelli got there. They had the shift on for Johnson. So Peter Borges will be the hitter, runner in scoring position at 2 outs. McCutchen, Gong, and Cervelli coming up. Peter is 0 for 3, was hit by a pitch, scored a run back in the 4-run 5th for St. Louis. Colton Wong, the runner at second base. Strike 1. That's out of play. 0-2 the count. Cervelli out to visit. Put it this way, if they've hit Wong to atone for what happened with Gung, it should be over, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody would be fine with that.
Here's an 0-2. Sends us to the bottom of the ninth. Strikeout of Peter Borges. Cardinals trying to finish off game one. The game, 7 1/3 innings. No runs. ERA has been lowered overall to 2.52. After the rain delay, he got better. And boy, was he good tonight.
Well, this double play early on helped him, but really he just helped himself after that. Got the strikeout pitch working in a variety of ways. At times it was the breaking ball, at times the changeup, at times the fastball that reached 100 miles an hour. Another terrific outing for Carlos Martinez. Seth Maness back out for that ninth inning, and for the middle of the order for the Pirates. 3 more outs to get, Dan. It's still not over.
No balls, 2 strikes on McCutchen. Gung is second up, then Cervelli. Those are the numbers against Seth Maness. One of the unsung heroes of this bullpen of the Cardinals, which has been very good this year. That's it out of play.
His ability to throw strikes cannot be overstated.
3 walks the entire season, one of those intentional.
In 33 innings.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Rosenthal is doing what I was talking about earlier, just standing on the mound, playing a little catch, not necessarily getting hot. Just in case. There's that pitch that runs back in on a right-hander. In on the hands of McCutchen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. McCutchen tonight. The key double play that we just saw moments ago back in the first. He is struck out and lined out to third. 2 balls, 2 strikes on the former MVP. You think about how important game 1 is to set the tone in this series. If the Cardinals can hold on, you're facing Garrett Cole tomorrow, A.J. Burnett Saturday, Francisco Liriano on Sunday. Will not get any easier. Paul may have hit him if he didn't swing.
He's smiling about it. He knows there's nothing you can really do with that. Kind of an awkward swing, but Maness will do that to you. A lot of movement from Seth.
It's a ball club, Pittsburgh, that only has 15 losses here at home this year.
Better swing there. Got his arms extended there.
Two. Full count. Time granted. Just prior to that 3-2 pitch.
Interesting delivery for Seth Maness.
It's also a delivery that may get you hurt.
It reminded me a little bit of you at fantasy camp, but I think on a more serious note, you're right. Could get you hurt.
3-2, driven out to deep center field, and the Pirates get on the board with a long home run off the bat of McCutcheon. His 11th.
Well, the good news, nobody on base. The bad news, long home run. Seth Maness does not want to give in. Doesn't want to walk, so he's going to throw one and challenge him, and he lost the challenge.
And with that 3-run lead, Mike Matheny goes to his bullpen. And the closer, Rosenthal, coming on. .26 in save opportunities this year. .69 ERA. He is 3 back of the leader in saves in the National League, the Pirates, Mark Melancon, who has 28. Tied with Drew Storn of Washington. Gung, Cervelli, Alvarez. Their numbers against the hard-throwing right-hander of St. Louis.
Very good first half of the season for Trevor Rosenthal, deserving, obviously, of being an all-star. Save situation now. Trying for number 26. I think Mike Matheny would have preferred not to use him today, but as it's gotten a bit closer here, Time for that 97 plus.
Gunga over 2 is hit by a pitch. That home run by McCutchen extends his hitting streak, by the way, to 16. And the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fly ball out to left with room. Richett for the first out. The Cardinals hold on and win this game. Carlos Martinez picks up win number 10. He'd be tied with his teammate Michael Wacha with 10. And 2 back of the league leader, Garrett Cole, who has 12. Carlos also started tonight with a 2.70 ERA. He'll move in front of his teammate Lance Lynn for 7th best in the National League. 2.52 now for Martinez. Strike 1 on Cervelli. A single to left back in the 4th. He is also grounded out to 3rd and grounded to short. Cardinals trying to pick up win number 56 and get back to 26 games above the 500 mark. Little tapper foul. You think about Rosenthal, 97 plus, as Rick said, but also a good curveball. You don't see it a lot. You see the changeup a little bit more.
You do, and the curveball we saw when he first came to the big leagues, I thought he had a good curveball, but then he kind of would hang it some. I don't want to say he lost confidence in it. I'd say it'd be better said that he didn't need it because the fastball is so good and the changeup developed so much. Most relievers who are closing out games are going to be 2-pitch guys. One or the other.
1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out, nobody on. That time he got him, and a strikeout for Rosenthal. And there are 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th. Cervelli saying, well, the previous pitch wasn't a strike, but this one went the Cardinals' way.
Looked like a pretty good pitch to me. It does catch the outside corner just barely.
Final hope is Pedro Alvarez. Martinez tonight, 7 1/3, 4 hits, no runs, walked 2. He struck out 8. And Rosenthal trying to pick up save number 26. There's strike 1. Oh, 0-1 pitch. And the Pirates down to their final strike.
You said that last night.
Yes, I did. We all know what happened. The 0-2 pitch. A changeup in the dirt at 89 miles an hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. The 2-2. Got him, and the Cardinals are now 5.5 in front of Pittsburgh with a win tonight. 56-30. The record for the St. Louis Cardinals in a 4-1 final here in Pittsburgh.
Well, Mike Matheny has to be very pleased with his club's effort here. Game 1 in Pittsburgh. This is the team that's chasing you. It got to 4.5 all of a sudden after the Cardinals had built a big lead a month or so ago, and Carlos Martinez answered the bell. The defense was good. The offense put up the 4 spot in the 5th inning. Really a team effort and a big win for St. Louis.
Carlos Martinez, little help early on with some great defense. After the delay, settled in. He was terrific. 4-1 the final.